We spend 85% of our lives inside. But have you ever stopped to think how the design of a building is affecting you? Architecture can change the way you feel, the way you behave. It can even change the brain. Oh, it feels weird already.
Architects are impacting the structure of my brain, but they're not taking into consideration how.
Are we so obsessed with shiny icons that we've stopped thinking about the people inside them?
That is absolute nonsense. We're all architects, and we all live in the real world.
It's time to rethink our relationship with the most important buildings in our life, the places where we work, where we live, and where we play. In this program, I'm going to look at where we live. Our home should make us feel happy, healthy, and secure. But are the new homes we're building doing just the opposite? We're being squeezed into buildings that deprive us of basic needs like space, light, and good design. To really understand what's wrong with our housing today, I'm offering up my brain and my body, behold, the Peapot of Doom, to see the physical and the mental impact that our homes can have on us. Little old Britain, you're never going to look at your home the same way again. Your home is the most important piece of architecture you'll ever experience. It's where you spend most of your life. It's where you express who you really are. It's where you feel most yourself. This is somebody's home. It's also a work of art. This is the Lost House, hidden away in London's King's Cross, and designed by the much-fated British architect David Adjaye, the poster boy for sexy, upmarket housing. He creates spaces that seduce by fusing a relationship between indirect light, materials, and colour. This iconic house is almost totally black. Black resin floor, black walls, with no windows, but 3 light wells. This is the kind of home we all drool over in the glossy magazines. But you could argue that it's spaces like this that have driven our national obsession with what a home looks like and how expensive it is. Not what it feels like, or whether it's good for us. Does it feel like a home, or does it feel like an artwork?
Yeah, I think it feels very much like a home. I don't mind at all to be in a piece of art.
So then, does the house rule your life?
Yes, in a way, yeah. You cannot leave things out. They will disturb the feeling of the house.
So what are the demands that the house makes on you?
You have to have a certain upkeep. You have to polish the floors, you have to keep it tidy, you have to work on the concrete. It definitely requires maintenance, absolutely.
A lot of windows, a lot of cleaning up must go on.
You have to keep very good friends with the window cleaner.
But even with all this glass everywhere, the one thing you can't help noticing is the lack of direct light and a pervading gloom. It's very dark though as well. I mean, all the blackness. You never feel like you're living in a bunker or a coffin.
No, I've heard many things, but not that. For some reason, I never felt that this is stark or very cold feel to it. It may not be for everyone. It probably is not for everyone. But for me, it is, yeah, it's very, very peaceful.
This is a beautiful house, meticulously thought through. But I'd argue it's a prime example of an architect as artist, making a house that rules you, instead of making a house that fulfills your needs. Most of us don't live in a work of art. We buy places like this. You thought the Lost House was dark? Unbelievably, many windows in new housing are just over ½ a metre squared, about the size of a pizza box. Why so small? Simple, to save money. Small windows in new homes are a real concern for Professor Foster, who for more than 25 years has studied how a low lux, or light level, can affect our internal body clock.
Outside, light is incredibly bright. Even in a cloudy day in London, you probably got 20, 30,000 lux. The equivalent in your home would be 200 to 300 lux. In fact, people have argued that we live our lives in dim, dark caves.
This is where I live, a flat built in the 1950s. And the thing I love most of all about it, the big windows. But I'm curious to see what a lack of light does to me. So Professor Foster has devised an experiment, boarding up my windows for a week to the level of a house with the smallest national average window size.
So what we're going to do is reduce the light, probably to something like 50 or 100 lux. Still, many people are living under those sort of relatively low light levels. And then see how you cope with that reduced light exposure after about a week.
Sounds very depressing. Oh my God, what have I let myself in for? I bought this flat for the light, and I'm going to be without it for a whole week. It feels like being in prison. The door's just slammed shut. So this light meter will detect how much is coming in here before we put the boards up. I don't know, it was about 200 from this position in this room. Now it's reading about 50. I've got all these different tests to do. Urine sample. Just got to keep in the fridge and then the freezer. Fridge full of urine, that's very nice. Blood test. Got my glucose monitor. In there. This is my sleepiness scale. Shows you how sleepy I'm feeling throughout the day. And then these ones, these are mood ratings. Do I feel calm? Do I feel sad? Horrified? Happy? Angry? Do I feel extremely angry? I feel a bit angry at the moment, I have to be honest. The whole flat feels a bit like it's been plunged into depression. I feel like I'm living in a cave or a kind of goth's bedroom or something. I really want to get out now. I really feel like I want to escape. But you know the most worrying thing for me, the most worrying thing of all at the moment? It's these. Look. My plants. I'm not even allowed to leave my home for a week. Day 4. Very glum and very tired. There's this sort of gloom over the whole flat. It does smell like a gentleman's toilet. I just can't really wait for it to end now, I think. It's horrible. I hate it. Make it stop. Not long to go now. I feel really, really glum. Isn't that amazing? To reacquaint yourself with the sun after a week. I feel like I'm going on holiday, like I'm off to Saint-Tropez after a spell in the Arctic North where there's no light. Thank goodness that's over with. But I wonder, what was all that darkness actually doing to my body?
So your tension and anxiety went up significantly.
Wow.
Your depression and
loads.
dejection went up really quite a lot. But look at this. Your vigor collapsed enormously.
I know I felt glum and a bit blue and a bit grumpy and so on, but to actually see the swings.
Now, let's look at the glucose levels. And I have to say, I'm a little concerned. A glucose level above 6 is regarded as high. And what you see is that under the dim light conditions, your morning glucose has moved from 5.7 to 6.8.
So I'm sort of borderline diabetic. That's not good after a week, is it?
Certainly, if that was sustained, then you'd need to bring that down below 6.
Shocking, isn't it?
It's quite marked, actually. What was really interesting, and that urine collection was worth doing, because these data are really fascinating. If you were perfectly entrained, the body clock was exactly locked on, the period of the peaks would be exactly 24 hours. They're not. In fact, we've got a period of 24.2. which is a little bit longer, which fits with the idea that the body clock is beginning to drift. Those peaks are getting a little bit later and later.
What are the consequences of that?
Well, what you're getting is a tendency for internal desynchronization. The master clock in the brain is at a slightly different point to the clocks in the liver, to the ones in the gut.
So if I was to carry on living like this, like many people do in new homes, what would be the result?
You're more likely to be depressed.
Blimey.
You are increasing your chances of immune suppression, metabolic abnormalities such as diabetes 2, and of course all that is associated with increased levels of susceptibility to disease.
It's quite incredible, isn't it? It's quite a credible response.
We are an extraordinary species, and perhaps just profoundly arrogant. We think we're independent of so much. We can do what we like, when we like, and something as trivial as the amount of light we see each day is not considered as important.
And yet it is. It's fundamental.
It's critical.
I'm astonished by what a lack of light can do to us. Luckily for the house builders, most of us can get out for a top-up of natural light. But for those who can't, and for all of us in winter, staying at home in a house with small windows can certainly damage your health. And it gets worse. It's not just light they skimp on. This country is building some of the smallest homes in Western Europe, and it's having a devastating effect. If a lack of light has such a profound impact on our body and mind, what effect does a lack of space and poor design in our homes have on us? So many of us just seem to accept what the developers are serving up without considering the size of what's on offer. In Britain, we're peculiar because we're duped into buying our homes based on the number of bedrooms, not the actual size of the house. It gives house builders an easy chance to bamboozle us. You could have a 3-bedroom ensuite home with all mod cons, but it could still be the size of a shoebox. In fact, in Britain, we have some of the smallest houses in the Western world. Let me show you. We've marked out with tape the average home sizes from around the world, but shrunk in half because, frankly, some are so big, we couldn't fit them in the space we've got. First of all, we have Australia, 214.6 square metres. Denmark, small crowded country just like our own, but they manage 136 square metres. Then we have Spain and France and Italy and Ireland, and in the middle, little old Britain, paltry 76 square metres. Since 1980, there have been no legal minimum space standards for housing in England or Scotland. And now with a shortage of new housing and prices so inflated, we consumers scrabble to get the most for our money, but end up getting far less than we hoped for. To find out what that feels like, I've come to a typical new build estate in Leicester, to an average 3-bedroom family house. Gail Rubicki moved in with her family 5 years ago, and the magic has definitely worn off. So, what's put you off it?
Lack of light, space, the whole thing's just not been designed properly.
It's quite dark in here, isn't it?
Yes.
From front hall, you just got a window there and that's it. What's through here?
That's the bedroom.
A bedroom on the ground floor. That's
Yes.
a bit peculiar. That is a bit
Yes.
peculiar. So you have to go through the bedroom to get to the back garden.
Yes.
That seems a bit crazy, doesn't it?
It's very overlooked.
It's quite cramped in.
It is. This is the kitchen. Small, no storage, nowhere to put the washing, the ironing board. There's just no space at all for anything. No washing machine up here, so it's up and down to the washer.
I can almost touch
Yes.
both sides.
And the ceilings are quite low.
Yeah, I'm not exactly tall, but I can touch the ceiling. You sort of feel compressed, don't you?
So this is the master bedroom, and very small, really. We can only have one bedside cupboard because we can't open the wardrobe door with 2, and that's the ensuite.
Oh, there's no loo. It's tiny.
Really small.
Crikey. We approached various house builders to explain why they were making such cramped homes, but they didn't want to talk to us. Complaining about not having enough room to swing a cat, even a fake one, is one thing. But is there any scientific proof that small spaces affect us adversely?
let me show you what it is we do in here.
Here at the University of California, San Diego, in this incredible lab called the Cave, they can create virtual 3D rooms to see how our brains respond to space, light, even ceiling height.
The design of a space influences our brain, our bodies, and our behavior. And what we're trying to do here in this controlled laboratory is manipulate architectural designs so that we can measure objectively what architects have understood intuitively for the millennia.
Ooh.
This is electrically conductive gel. And it makes it possible for the electrical signals to travel from your scalp to the tips of our electrodes so that we can pick them up.
Bet Lady Gaga hasn't had this outfit.
We got our first sign of good contact, which makes us very happy.
I'm alive. What are you actually measuring here?
We're looking at where your eyes are looking, what your face is doing, whether you're relaxed or tense, and what your brain is doing while you're perceiving the world around you.
Okay.
Any wires tugging on you?
That feels all good.
Okay, good. Let's
Okay.
walk to the cave.
Okay.
Now that I've been hooked up to an EEG and eye tracking system,
Whoa.
we're going to measure the effect that different ceiling heights have on me.
Now look up to the top of the wall. How do you feel as that changes?
You feel like a weight is lifting, like literally a weight is lifting off your head.
As the roof is raised, we see a transition from that high frequency activity to a lower frequency signal, and it generally indicates a more relaxed state. It's possible that the sensation of that ceiling going up causes his brain to transition into a more relaxed state.
Back to the center. Bottom of the... Okay.
As the image of the roof gets lower, we see that Tom's signals transition from that smooth signal that we saw before to a more higher frequency signal, a more active, tense state.
In Britain, we have very low space standards for our housing. And our new housing is very small in terms of room size and the amount of space given over to people. What would you imagine? What impact would that have on people?
Well, when dimension becomes too small, then we know it ranges everywhere from a feeling of compression that's palpable to a feeling of stress and an impact on function. If we give more information about the subconscious, what the body and the brain are doing in response to architecture, we can start to inform design that serves the human to a greater extent. I think it's a brave new world.
Developers and architects have been letting us down, building homes that neglect the essential elements we need to thrive. But it isn't just the space inside our homes that's crucial. It seems the space around our homes and where they are positioned directly affects our sense of privacy and community.
If I sit too close to a stranger, more likely than not, they'll get up and walk away. We all want to protect our territory from being invaded. But if I preserve a discreet buffer and don't get too close, the stranger may stay. We might even strike up a conversation. Would you like a cherry?
Ideally then, our homes need to provide private space to retreat to, and they also need to give us safe outside public spaces to engender a feeling of community. But as cities become more crowded, how can we achieve this without ending up on top of each other? I've come to Copenhagen to look at one solution. I reckon it's a better invention than the wheel.
The ancient Greeks had it, the Romans had it. No one's really improved upon the street. But the pressure in cities all around the world these days is to build higher and higher. So can you rise up and keep the street? Of course, we tried it in the 1960s with streets in the sky with very mixed results. Now, one young Danish architect is bravely resurrecting the idea, but with a twist.
Bjarke Ingels, only 36, is already a rising star in international architecture. This is his 8 house, named after its figure-of-8 cycle path that loops around the building all the way from the ground to the 10th floor. Ingels' idea is to radically reimagine how to create private space and a sense of community in high-density living. To make a building that, for a change, puts people's individual needs before how the building looks. And it didn't break the bank.
If all people are different, then how come almost all apartments are the same? These are buildings that look different because they perform different.
Do you reconcile your ambition to create amazing shapes with the ambitions people have to live in a humane environment?
We thought of this idea to try to create a new kind of more lively neighborhood when we are building a city from scratch. So shops and offices that occupy the ground. On top, we put the townhouses and make space for the gardens. We add another layer of more classic apartments, and then finally we top it off with a new sort of neighborhood of penthouse townhouses that also have gardens in front and this little path. To the south, we dip down this peak and inviting the sunshine and the view into the courtyard. And the resultant architecture becomes this three-dimensional urban landscape where people can move around. In a way, it's thought very much from the inside out to actually maximize the conditions for the individual people inhabiting the block. What could be sort of perceived as flamboyant architectural gestures is the building trying really hard to make its tenants happy.
What's your manifesto?
Our manifesto is bigamy. You can have both. That sort of, it might be in your romantic life, and at least by law, you have to choose between, I don't know, blonde or brunette. But in architecture and in cities, you quite often can actually have both. You can have a very dense urban block, but you can also have a townhouse. In many ways, the sort of architectural bigamy is trying to explore the possibility of things that you see as mutually exclusive and trying to find ways of bringing them together.
The 8 house is a clever experiment in high-density living, but it'll take another 20 years to know if it has really worked or not. Personally, I'm not a great fan of huge monolithic buildings like this, but it does prove that you can build something imaginative, even with a lack of space and money. All it takes is willpower and good design. The space you're in directly affects not just your mood, but also your health and your well-being. Science is beginning to understand a badly designed environment can affect your chances at school, your relationships, even your weight. In fact, some scientists think that the very appearance of your home can directly affect your brain and body. I've agreed to plunge myself into ice-cold water, a standard test to measure our tolerance to pain, to see if being in a beautiful environment makes any difference to me. Whether I can stand the cold longer in this, the gorgeous Criterion restaurant in London, rather than a dingy old basement like this.
It's cold, it's dark, it's dank. We have a bath full of ice-cold water. Immerse yourself in it and we'll see how long you last for.
Straight in.
Straight in, no messing about.
No messing.
All right? When you get out, just get straight out and that'll give me a clean time to start and stop. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, wow. My feet are really cold and going blue, I'm sure. I'm a little breathless. I'm having difficulty speaking.
Look at the architecture.
Yes, focus, 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 focus. This is really good. There's not really much to distract you. It's all pretty ugly.
to get out. I'm feeling nice and rested now.
Okay. 60 seconds exactly.
Great.
Okay. 1 minute and 24 seconds.
Well, that sounds quite good.
I'm pretty impressed by that. That's very good, and that's longer than you lasted for in the ugly surroundings.
What's it be doing to me?
Well, psychologically speaking, the way that the brain kind of copes with pain, we have these descending pain inhibitory pathways. And in more favourable conditions, we're better able to activate these. And what they basically do is dampen down the amount of pain that we feel. The opulent surroundings in this building have helped you to tolerate the pain better.
So, the architecture has saved me. Properly controlled scientific trials, similar to what I've been through, show that a beautiful environment really does affect the brain, that design is powerful and important. But how can we apply this to mass housing? How can we create beauty and harmony in architecture that everyone finds appealing? Some architects believe there's a universal formula. This house is designed to make you feel good. This is Bateman's Row, a house designed by Soraya Khan and her partner Patrick Tice. Based on what's called the golden mean, an ancient theory of design they believe to be key to architecture. What is the golden section?
It's supposed to be a proportion that is absolutely universally pleasing to the human eye. When it's applied to a rectangle, the short side is 1, the long side is 1.618.
Well, that's just like a normal A4 piece of paper,
Exactly.
isn't it? So an A4 piece of paper is the golden section.
It is. If we take a line from one corner diagonally, it forms a square and another golden section rectangle. The rectangle that's left is also golden section proportion. And you can just keep subdividing the golden section rectangles into a square and a golden section rectangle. And basically, this curved line, which describes the actual square, it continues to the next square, to the next square, to the next square, and on and on and on. You can see it looks like a shell. Yeah. And in fact, that shell proportion, that spiraling out in this beautiful proportion, is actually a mathematical formula. And yet, emotional and aesthetic, and I think it's that combination that gives it such power.
So when you came to design this building, how does it work here?
Probably the most easy to pick up on are the actual window sizes. We have the 5 panes here, and you can see that the column is between the group of 3 and the group of 2 panes. And again, that's a...
Yeah. I'm going to measure it. Come on. I want to measure it. So... All right, if you get one end...
Oh, yes.
Measure that. So that is 165. And if you take the bottom,
Yes.
I've got there.
Okay.
There we go, that's at the top.
And that is 267.
So 165 and 267. All right, let's go and see if it really works. 267 divided by 165 equals, it does, 1.618. Look at that. So did you specify that glass should be that shape?
We did, absolutely.
See, now that I know what it is, I can begin to see it.
Golden section, we know, is an absolutely sound basis on which to produce this kind of rational design coupled with beauty.
So something that somebody walking past will look at and think, there's something about it.
Exactly,
Right.
Exactly.
So if the ancient Greeks were to have built in the East End of London, you think they might have come up with something like this?
I'd be flattered if that were the case.
This passion for the golden mean sounds fantastical, but it has been said to underlie the architecture of the Parthenon, the Taj Mahal, Le Corbusier's Villa Savoye, and the ratio of the human body. So do we see it in our humble homes? Georgian architecture gets close, but beauty in new build housing, are you winding me up? And does this matter? Are we really all hardwired to appreciate the golden mean's beauty? Maths enthusiast Alex Bellos has brought all manner of things to show me that the golden mean appears everywhere in nature, even in us.
I brought along a little sort of toy which is called a golden mean gauge. Give me your knuckles or your big finger. So I'm going to have there, and there. Turns out it is
Just perfect.
absolutely perfect.
I have perfect fingers.
And presumably in culture, we have then taken this and applied it to beauty and proportion, because we're seeing it in nature. We look at a pineapple and we think it's beautiful, and there's obviously some kind of underlying pattern which we then apply to other things.
That is the argument that people who believe it is the secret of beauty, they will say, of course it makes sense, and the proof is we see it in nature. These numbers, the ratio happens in nature all the time.
So is there a kind of innate design that we have for this proportion, this ratio, and how can we test for it?
Well, this is a job really not for the mathematicians, but for the psychologists. And actually, in 1874, the experimental psychology of art really began with Gustav Fechner and his famous tests, experiments, to find out what people think of rectangles. And what he did, he showed volunteers different types of rectangles,
Right.
and he asked them which was the sexiest, the most attractive, the most gorgeous. And he found that the majority of people, the grand majority, chose the golden ratio. Do you think you can do it?
Which rectangle is the most appealing to me? That one.
It's the golden ratio.
Oh, it is! God, I really did find it. It was not a stitch-up.
No.
Whether or not the golden mean is the magic formula, the fundamental idea of investing in good, thoughtful design is a no-brainer. And that starts with the very stuff your house is made from. Good architects have always known that the right material can make or break how we respond to a building. Materials are the skin of architecture, the bit we touch and engage with. But too many of Britain's house builders, after a fast buck, see quality materials as an extravagance. They opt for cheapo surfaces that don't wear well and feel, yuck, hollow and plasticky. Materials shouldn't be an afterthought. They have a direct physiological effect on our senses. They make a home homely. But can they really transform how we feel? This isn't a home, but it's designed to feel just like one. Maggie's in West London is a drop-in centre for cancer patients. They're being built all over the country as an antidote to everyday hospital buildings with their stark, alienating spaces. Architecture is Maggie's magic ingredient. Key to their philosophy is to use materials in a design that inspires, relaxes, and stimulates, creating architecture one can connect to, both physically and emotionally.
Well, when I first came through the door, I was absolutely shell-shocked. I'd just been told I had cancer. I didn't know what to do. And frankly, I can't really remember, but the second time I came, I felt it was home from home. The way this place has been designed and the way we use it, which obviously complements the design, it's a lifesaver.
We've got, wood here and some very beautiful, warm, polished concrete. We've got some bright colours over there. We've got light. As an architect, are you sort of basically orchestrating all these different materials to create a feeling, I suppose?
Yeah, we're actually creating an environment. It's the environment that's actually also there to try and heal you as well. And so the more comfort you can actually get out of the environment that you're within, and the more relaxed you can be, the better the whole psyche is going to be. We wanted to keep it very natural inside, so we wanted to use the natural woods, the natural concrete.
Obviously, people are going to say, it's almost like, well, if I'm going to pay money for materials, am I really going to get my money back?
I would actually say that the materials we've chosen aren't inherently expensive. Try to use soft woods where we can. The only places we've actually got hardwoods are on thresholds where they're going to get worn. Things you're going to touch, feel a leather handrail, or whether you feel a stainless steel handrail. There's a very different feeling that it's going to give you. I think that's where design and good design actually makes a massive difference.
I love the warmth and familiarity that materials can provoke. I only wish, really, that this building had been built sooner. My mum died in this hospital, just up there, a few years ago. And what I remember of a really hideous time was the place, was the environment, was the alienation that you felt in there, which was just worsened by the kind of place it was, you know, with these strip fluorescent lights and the kind of plastic surfaces, and there's nowhere to sit and there's nowhere to come to at all. You know, this place wasn't built at the time, and I can imagine, you know, I'd rather have experienced what was a hideous, hideous moment in a place like this rather than up there.
This place is such a success because every detail has been carefully thought through. By contrast, so many new homes are quickly and cheaply made, with little consideration for how they make us feel. It's time to start demanding homes made of good quality materials that make us feel good.
So we know all the elements that make a house a home: space, light, materials, design, proportion. Now, you could quite easily have all of these elements in a traditional style house. But here in the Netherlands, there's a house that turns all of them upside down. And even more strangely, it was built nearly 90 years ago.
This is the Rietveld Schroeder House in Utrecht, built in 1924 and now a museum. It's one of my favourite buildings, a perfect blueprint for a home, full of light, space and personality.
Things that were really important to Rietveld were, for example, how you can connect the inside with the outside. He always experiments with space. He put in just enough walls to keep the whole together, to make it solid enough to become a house. It almost becomes a three-dimensional Mondrian painting.
What's this over here? What does Boodschappen mean?
It's grocery or messages. It's a speaking tube.
Oh, like an intercom?
Yeah.
From the 1920s.
You can see someone's at home.
Hello, is anybody in? That's very nifty. Oh, open sesame. Wow, goodness, look at this. Oh, it's so light and spacious, and also open plan as well. That must have been quite a radical idea in the 20s.
This is what you get when you make a floor without any walls. So here you see the setup at daytime. This is the center of the house, the vibrant heart of the house.
And is this where the intercom ends up?
Yeah, this is the speaking tube. So Truus Schreuder would be standing here.
Hello, is anybody in?
No, I'm not at home. This is really, really special. There is just enough wall to keep this house together.
Yeah.
The rest is glass.
Oh, incredible. Not only is it a house without walls, it's a house without corners as well.
This sums up what Rietveld really wanted to do. He doesn't make fixed corners. He lets space go through. And here you see it literally. No corner at all.
Famous chair.
This chair was the starting point of the house. You can see a lot of similarities. The style colors, the primary colors, the use of the color. Yeah. The back is red. Where you sit, it's blue. And then they use the yellow to show us that the elements go through space. What he did here, what I explained at the window, is that he doesn't make a fixed corner. He just let all the elements go straight into space. This whole new way of thinking about a chair as being an object in space was revolutionary.
Rietveld wanted the house to be open plan during the day.
That's great. A house without walls suddenly get walls.
But to be private and enclosed at night. Ingeniously, the house flexibly adapts to the family's changing needs.
It becomes so dynamic, doesn't it? It becomes so... The whole space seems to sort of come alive and move. The building becomes like a performance, doesn't it? It's almost like a kind of child's box of tricks somehow. I like that idea that the individual can live here and completely transform it, you know, completely transform how they live in the house. The house liberates them. It's so clever. It makes me so angry and so annoyed that we don't live in these kind of clever houses now. I mean, why don't we? Why do we live in these big, lumpy, great boxes when we could be living in something that's light and transformable and beautiful too?
In an ideal world, we should all live in houses over which we have control, that are responsive to our needs and our well-being. But for too long in the UK, we've let developers make their decisions for us. The time has come when we can no longer stand back in resigned silence. We need to have a voice too. A 1960s housing estate in North London is about to be demolished, and the tenants have been given a rare opportunity to help transform the look and feel of their new homes.
What are the main problems with the layout of the flats at the moment?
There's so many entrances and exits where people run in and through. The amount of times the kids run through with the police chasing them, we want to get away from that.
It smells of damp. It doesn't matter how much you clean it. You've always got this damp, musty smell.
Our windows are too small. They don't let in a lot of light, and the trees outside do restrict our light.
So, did you say you wanted...
Independent charity The Glass House has been brought in to design workshops that demystify the process behind good design.
Got a front door for you.
So what do you want the Glass House to achieve?
I think we'd really like to see people take ownership and take pride in their place and feel that they have a real say about what happens in their area. Places are made by people, and that's our sort of main aim, is to make places that are good for people.
The sink can be under the window, so we've got windows this side.
You're working on the layout of the new place is going to be like. What are the kind of key things you want? Well, what are the kind of 5 most important parts of it?
Better installation, more natural daylight.
Minimum entrances to the new build for security for us.
Somewhere that I can relax in, feel safe in, my kids can be happy in.
Not to go smaller on the size that we've got.
Right.
That is a major issue.
You find yourself now looking at things that you would never have looked at before.
The Glass House is definitely a step in the right direction, but it's not the whole solution. If we want to have control over where we live, we need to revolutionise Britain's entire housing system. We need something radical.
What would happen if the local council encouraged you to build your own house? In fact, made it easy? What would happen if the land was affordable? What would happen if you could build anything you wanted? Anarchy? Or a rather brilliant idea.
We think of self-build as a stuff of dreams and fancy TV programmes. We think it's expensive, but it doesn't have to be this way. I think affordable, independent self-build is the way forward. This is Homerus Quartier in Almere, a new city just 20 minutes outside Amsterdam. It's the biggest self-build experiment in Europe, a thrilling venture that has 720 plots available for people to design and build their own homes. And it's low cost. These aren't one-off grand designs, but affordable homes. A home of 100 square metres costs £145,000 all in. The average new home in Britain costs £214,000. And here, anything goes.
Hi, Basil. Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
This is smashing.
This is the vision of Basil Kuna. 2 years ago, he bought this plot, and now he's building the house he's always wanted.
Please walk through the door. There's no glass in.
Oh, this is brilliant. Look, it's right out on the water.
This is the main reason why we built the house here. 2 weeks ago, we swam for the first time in this water.
Oh, did you?
So, yeah, and I never realized we had a pool, in the backyard.
It's quite radical to build your own home. I mean, how did you go about it? Are you an architect?
No. I make music. That's what I do. But we both, me and my girlfriend, we both have a strong view about about what we want in a house.
I've got to ask about the roof.
I always wanted a roof like that, made out of straw. So that was the start point of our design.
Sounds like a lot of work. I mean, is it worth all the effort? And what do you get back? What's the payoff?
You get back a unique house that reflects your personality. Everything you like, you put in it. It's really exciting to be able to draw everything you want in your own house.
The opportunity came by for me as a single mom to buy a place and design it myself.
There must have been so many decisions you have to make. How did you know what you wanted?
Yeah, it was fun and it took a lot of time. We went out and looked everywhere. What kind of windows do we like? How does the house have to be shaped? We chose that as well.
So why is it such a good opportunity?
I was renting and never thought of buying a house on my own, being a single mom. It wasn't possible. And now it is. And that's beautiful. It's great.
This is incredible stuff. It really proves that affordable self-building is possible. But it's not so easy in Britain. Why is it so hard to build your own home in this country? First, you've got to get the land, which in this crowded little island doesn't come cheap. It's supposedly meant to be regulated by the free market, but it ends up being completely dominated by the big money. I mean, take mass house builders. Their big trick is to buy up swathes of land and then sit on it. It's called land banking, and it artificially inflates the cost of land. Once you get land, you've got to contend with a whole planning system, all this bureaucracy. There's ownership certificates, agricultural holding certificates, environmental statements. There's no end to the red tape. I mean, God, you have to have the kind of the energy of Hercules to build anything. But back in Almira, the usual problems have been overcome. Certainly in Britain, we kind of think of self-building as being quite an expensive thing.
We have people who build a house for only 150,000 euros, all inclusive, including the land, and then they have a house of 100 square meters.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Crikey. Were you not worried that you would end up with anything? And indeed, you have ended up with anything.
I think the outcome is very interesting. We didn't know beforehand who would do this. And now we see that the youngest one who is building his house is 19 years old.
Wow, 19?
19, quite young. And he's going to live in a small house with 6 cats. And the oldest one is 75. Just have a look around here and you see that even the most strange plot, someone can build a house in it. We see finally what people really want and can do. It's time to stop with the ready-made product and give people the chance to make a tailor-made house.
So this is the future, do you think?
I hope so. The only thing is, in the Netherlands, maybe in Britain as well, cities don't own that much land. Most is in the possession of developers. So as long as that's the case, it will be difficult to make this kinds of transition. But as soon as the developers back up, then it becomes possible for people to build.
Oh, I think I'm not bad at this. Housing is not a commodity. It's about where we live, where we should be nurtured. We need to aspire to homes that maximize light, space, beauty, and most importantly, express our own identity and imagination. We become docile, undemanding consumers who treat their house like a financial product, not a home. The only way we can change this is by seizing control of a system that's loaded against us. The politicians, developers, and architects have had their turn. It's time for you and me to roll up our sleeves. If you're bored of the architecture in your life, take control of a building by designing a school with the Open University. Go to channel4.com/buildings and follow the links.